Hey guys, welcome to Let's Play Banjo-Kazooie. Now I want to start off by saying this is probably one of the best 3D platformers of all time in my opinion, and I'm sure many others would not disagree. During the time of its release, it had rivals such as Super Mario 64, Spyro the Dragon, and Crash Bandicoot, so needless to say this game had some big shoes to fill, and in my personal opinion it did just that. Not only do you encounter many interesting and unique characters throughout the game, but there are many collectibles and rewards that you can collect in the same strength. This game was developed by a company called Rare, who went on to develop many other amazing games as well. One of those games was actually released during this time era, such as Donkey Kong Country. So needless to say, this game definitely rose above expectations. And with that, I say we start the adventure. As you can see, the story begins. We are about to meet the main antagonist, and this is her lair. Very creepy, right off the gate. And here she is, Grunty. Ding pot by the bench. Who is the nicest looking wench? Why, it's Grunty any day. She really takes my breath away as she picks her nose very disgustingly. Yes, you're right. I'm rather proud. My looks stand me out from the crowd. But there is this girl. What do you mean this cannot be? There's no one prettier than me. He has a way with words, I must say. Why, it's Tootie, young and small. She's the prettiest girl of 'em all. No, 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 you must be mad. Nicer beauty can't be had. Unfortunately, I think you'll find it's Tootie. She's cute and kind. Yeah, Grunty, looks aren't everything. Personality goes a long way as well, but that's something I guess you haven't figured out. Well, we'll see about that. He glitches a little bit, but then she eventually makes her way out. So it looks like she's going to stir up some trouble. And now we have Tootie. Little sweet Tootie. This is the younger sister of one of the main protagonists, Banjo. And we have the introduction of Bottles, who is basically the tutorial character throughout the game. Hi there, Tootie. What are you going to do today? When my big lazy brother wakes up, we're going on an adventure. Now there is a way to speed up the text throughout this game, but I'm going to try not to do that too much because it makes their voices sound a little too high pitched, and I kind of want it to just kind of play at regular speed just because. Looks like Banjo's snoozing. Wake up, I want to go on an adventure too. And this is Kazooie, his trusted little sidekick, who is the bird of the adventure. If Tootie thinks she's fairer than me, I'll steal her looks, and ugly she'll be. Looks like Grunty has a trick up her sleeve. Is that your brother? Where, Mr. Mole? I can't see him. Up there in the sky. Wow, Bottles really needs to get his eyes checked again. Apparently those goggles aren't doing anything for him. Because he's mixing up Banjo, a bear, with a big witch. Alright, so it looks like Grunty is going to stir up some trouble. Let me go, you ugly old hag. Don't scratch and bite, my little bear. You'll soon need bigger underwear. Oh no, she's got her. Somebody. Help. Banjo's just snoozing away. Banjo, wake up, now. And he's had a rough week. He's just tired, man. Leave him alone. Yawn. What do you want, Kazooie? Oh, we shouldn't have just said the word yawn. Let's get outside. There's trouble. Kazooie's having a little bit of a stumble there. And as you can see, that's how the story starts off. So Grunty has kidnapped our little sister Tootie, or Banjo's little sister Tootie. And we start off here in Spiral Mountain. So this is where Banjo and Tootie live. One of the first things you can actually do is go right into Banjo's house. And a few little cool things you can kind of find in here. Of course, there's a nice big picture of Tootie on the wall above Banjo's bed. We have a little bit of a cuckoo clock there. I like that addition. Nice picture of Bottles. This picture is actually one of the first levels we're going to be encountering in the game, so spoiler alert there. Another nice picture of Banjo, and then of course a picture of Banjo and Kazooie on the wall over here by the bookshelf. And of course you can see Banjo has a little goldfish there. I like that little addition. And he's got some pots and pans, but I don't know if that's like an actual stove or how he cooks. I don't know. He's a bear. I'm not really sure how he cooks his food. Maybe a fire pit outside, but now we're outside and we will talk to Bottles. Listen up, I'm Bottles, the short-sighted mole. Yeah, we found that out when you mixed up Banjo with Grunty. I'm Banjo and this here is my buddy Kazooie. Sure is a strange-looking buddy, Banjo. Can it talk? Wow. Better than you can, Goggle Boy. So Kazooie and Bottles are kind of the comic relief throughout the story in the game. I love that they kind of add a little bit of humor to the game, even though there's some dark, kind of some dark story kind of right off the bat. I mean, the dude's sister gets stolen, you know, that's kind of dark, but adding a little bit of humor to it goes a long way. So Bottles, yeah, so he's basically letting us know that Grunty flew up to her lair, took Tootie with her, she kidnapped her, and we have to go up to the lair to rescue our sister. And that is actually where we are going to find all the different levels throughout the game. And eventually we'll make our way to the top where we will find our sister Tootie. So Bottles is going to be our tutorial character throughout the game. So we want to accept his training. He's basically going to put us through a little bit of basic move training where he essentially just teaches us all the basic moves that we'll need throughout the game. So every time we find a molehill, we'll stand next to it. And if you're playing the Xbox version, you press X next to it. I believe the Nintendo 64, you would press A or B. I think it's B actually. But each time you find a molehill like this one, you want to talk to it. Bottles will come out and teach us a new move. Anyone home? Hello again. Let's start with the camera controls. So camera controls are not very, I mean, it's not really a huge deal unless you are, I guess, unfamiliar with many games that have camera controls or maybe 3D platformers. Yeah, the left or right bumper on the Xbox controller, that's the version I'm playing this game. She called him Warm Breath. It's basically just teaches us how to kind of move the camera around. You can keep the camera, I think, behind Banjo if you hold the left bumper. So that's kind of something that's kind of nice. Not really a huge deal. I've never really had any issues anytime I play this game with the camera controls, so something useful in case you needed it. We'll go ahead and move on to the next molehill. As you can see, we have some stumps over here, and we have, looks like an empty honeycomb over there. Your jump could do with some help. What do moles know about jumping? Hey, that's a fair statement. More than you, press A to jump, and hold it to jump higher. So basically we can do a basic jump like that with Banjo. Pressing the A button, holding it. Come on, Feathers, you can give him a hand. Why? I'll look silly. I know it. Jump, then press A again in air for a double jump. So yeah, so Kazooie will actually allow Banjo to gain a little bit more height in his jumps by pressing the A button twice. Go flap her wings and yeah, just give him a little bit more height in his jumps. Alright, so now we gotta stand like this. What, wearing ridiculous glasses and a silly grin? Kazooie's just laying this guy out with the burns, man. And I'm pretty sure Kazooie's a girl. I know Bottles called her an it, and Banjo referred to her as his buddy, but I'm pretty sure Kazooie's a girl, from my understanding and knowledge of this game, for as long as I have understood it. Yeah, that other jump, basically we just kind of crouch with Banjo and then perform another jump with Kazooie. She gives us, again, more height in our jumps, but if we jump over on this stump, do that jump, we will obtain our first empty honeycomb. So each item that you collect, the first time you collect them, they will actually appear on screen and actually explain themselves what they do. Empty honeycombs, once we collect a certain amount, they will allow us to gain extra life on our life meter. So this spot is where Bottles is actually going to teach us to swim and dive. Again, nothing too complicated. Most 3D platformers, you're pretty familiar if you played. Many other 3D platformers, swimming and diving underwater is kind of a comic function. But here we kind of just have to learn it for the first time before we can do it. So basically we just jump in the water, we hit X to dive, and then we can swim underwater. We do have a limited amount of time we can be underwater because we do have an air meter like this. We'll find another empty honeycomb under here, But what Bottles is basically telling us here is we can swim a couple different ways. So I can see Kazooie's kind of using her wings to kind of give us some more momentum. But you can also use Banjo's feet to swim a little bit slower. So if there's an item or something you missed underwater and you want to kind of not swim too far ahead of it, you can use Banjo's feet to kind of swim a little bit slower, or just kind of gain a little bit more mobility while you're swimming. Man, a lot of words that I'm stumbling upon. But what we want to do is actually go over here, and as you can see, we have some platforms, and out there in the distance is another empty honeycomb. So let's go ahead and grab that, because once we get 6, we gain another honeycomb attached to our life meter. So having more health is always nice. If you go over here behind this waterfall, you will find an extra life. It basically is just like a trophy of Banjo, I guess, but that's kind of what the extra life looks like in this game. You won't really need a lot of those. It's not that difficult of a game. Maybe towards the end, like maybe the last 2 levels I'm thinking of, you might need those, but it really isn't that big of a deal. Moving right along through these nice little beautiful fields of, I guess these are, I don't know if these are like crops, I guess they're flowers, right? But we're gonna go ahead and head over to this molehill for the next move. Hey Banjo, I hope you're not afraid of heights. Well, in real life, maybe, but in this game, not really. I'm not. Tell me about flying, Root Muncher. Did he say Root Muncher? She? Not yet, Banjo. Jump onto a tree, then use the left stick to climb. So yes, he's basically going to teach us how to climb trees. So yeah, a lot of these moves you learn in this tutorial area are kind of unnecessary in my opinion to like have to actually like speak to Bottles and then learn them. I think these are kind of moves that you kind of could start out with right off the bat, and just maybe he can like remind you how to use them. But hey, it's a tutorial area. We get to explore Spiral Mountain. It's a beautiful area. So I love this area. I think it's one of the greatest introductions and tutorials to any game, in my opinion, just because it allows you to kind of freely explore, get familiar with the controls, how Banjo-Kazooie play, but you're still learning your basic moves that you need to know all in the same strength. So now we'll go over to this molehill, this little dirt area, and we're going to learn the Beak Barge attack. So we're basically going to be able to utilize Kazooie again, and we're going to use her beak to break various objects. In this case, we have some boulders to break. We basically want to crouch down with Banjo, and then on the Xbox, you press the X button. I think on the N64, it's the B button. Once Banjo's crouched down, and then Kazooie will perform the Beak Barge. That's another useful move, an offensive attack that Kazooie has when you're facing various enemies, which I'll kind of show once we get to those points. But we now uncovered another empty honeycomb, so we have one more to get, and we will gain another extra life to our meter. Or not extra life, but extra honeycomb. Now we'll head up here to this garden area for our last set of moves. Banjo, it's time for you to learn the Claw Swipe attack. The Claw Swipe attack is basically one of the offensive moves that Banjo can learn, and he can use it against enemies. I personally find this as one of the moves I probably use the least, just because there's another move we're going to learn right here. Actually, you'll see that gives you a little bit more range in your attacks. Banjo can actually use a rolling move, and we're going to learn that here as well. But the Claw Swipe there's nothing wrong with it. I just kind of find it not as useful compared to the rolling attack, because you'll kind of see here. So he's going to give us some targets, and we have a carrot here. So we're going to be taking our aggression out on some vegetables, I guess. But yeah, the Claw Swipe, Banjo just does a little, claw punch, and you kind of have to stand like right in front of the enemy. As you can see, I wasn't quite close enough right off the gate. And now it's time to try the fearsome forward roll. So this is the move I use more often. So the forward roll is going to give you a little bit more range in your attack, so you can kind of stand a little bit further away from the enemies. As you can see here, we have another vegetable here. Go ahead and attack it. As you can see, we can just roll right into it, and we have a little bit more time to attack, because the just in my opinion, I think it gives you a little bit more range. You don't have to necessarily stand right in front of the enemies, because some enemies will charge at you and not give you a lot of time to react. So the roll is always my go-to when you have to directly attack an enemy like that. But now we're going to learn the Rat-a-tat-rap by jumping and pressing X in the air. If you're playing the Nintendo 64, you're pressing B while in the air. And Kazooie does a little Rat-a-tat attack, as it's called here, where she again is utilizing her beak to destroy the enemy, but this time in midair instead of down on the ground. Go ahead and try it out again, and we will obtain our final empty honeycomb, and that will allow us We now attach another honeycomb onto our life bar meter. So we now have 6. We started out with 5. We now have 6. We have an additional hit on our life meter. So that's always nice. And again, we're going to be finding a lot more empty honeycombs throughout the later levels as well. But now we've actually completed the tutorial. So all we have left to do is climb up the mountain to Grunty's lair, because we are going to go see if we can find our sister Tootie. And we picked up our first honeycombs. Those are basically just kind of like your life regeneration items. So anytime you destroy an enemy, they're going to drop a filled honeycomb. Of course, the empty honeycombs, once you collect enough of those, like I've said already, they gain you extra life. These just refill your life meter. So that's something that's useful as well. As you can see, we now have the enemies that are kind of spread out around Spiral Mountain. That way we can kind of practice our moves. But since I played this game multiple times, I'm already familiar enough. I say we climb the mountain, and as you can see, this is where Spiral Mountain gets its name. Well done, guys. You're ready to tackle the witch now. We sure are. Show us the way, Bottle Boy. I fixed the bridge so you can cross. Yes, we're gonna enter Gruntilda's lair. I was gonna say that bridge kind of came out of nowhere. It's almost like she was like giving us such an easy access. It looks like Bottles is helping us out. He does more than teach us basic moves. He also builds bridges. So I say we go ahead and enter Gruntilda's lair. What is this? What is Grunty doing to our little sister now? She looks so petrified. Man, this is scary. This fine contraption, so I'm told, will make me young and Tootie old. Man, that's horrible. Let me go, you fat hag. My brother will come and kick your butt. Yeah, Tootie doesn't rhyme as well as Grunty. Rescue me if you dare. Or, yeah, I didn't get that. Hurry, Klungo, push that switch. I'm tired of being an ugly witch. So Klungo is this, Gruntilda's little ugly assistant. Not really little, I guess. Banjo, help! So looks like Gruntilda, wow, she's really thought this out. So she actually has a machine that's going to actually make Tootie ugly and her beautiful. So we definitely want to make our way to the top of this lair. We have a nice little beautiful picture of Gruntilda right in the entranceway, so that's not creepy at all. Staring us down as we enter, so she kind of knew we were coming. But if you climb up here, you will find your first Jiggy. So this is the main collectible of the game. Hey, it's me, Mr. Jiggy. Now go and find a picture with the piece missing. Alright, so the Jiggies are your main collectible of the game. You're going to need to collect several to unlock all the levels in the game. So the Jiggies are required, of course, to unlock more levels later on. We are actually going to be collecting every single Jiggy in the game, and we're going to start off by actually walking over here. This is where we're going to have our first level. As you can see, it's kind of closed off there. The door is shut. But if we go over here, we have a picture with a puzzle piece pad. We step on it. It looks like there's one piece of the picture missing. At the end of the world shown on the picture, you must fill in the missing spaces with the jigsaw pieces. We've got the first jigsaw piece, Goggle Boy. Great. Fill in the missing spaces on the picture. So yes, so once you have enough jigsaws, also known as Jiggies, you can fill in the missing pieces of various pictures, and this is what actually gives you access to the different worlds of the game. Now that we have Mumbo's Mountain unlocked, we are going to tackle that one first. That was such an easy fit. The others may just test your wit. So next time on Banjo-Kazooie, we will tackle World 1, Mumbo's Mountain, where we will start off this adventure right and get right into it. So until then, I will see you guys later.